Imagine this for a moment. What if the greatest source of power a woman can possess isn't youth, isn't beauty, and isn't status either? What if the real power is something far quieter, far deeper, and almost impossible to imitate? Experience. And here is something that may surprise you. Many women spend years believing that time takes something away from them. But the truth is the exact opposite. Time is not stealing your power. Time is building it. Now think about this carefully. What if everything you have lived, every challenge you faced, every disappointment you survived, every lesson you learned the hard way, it was never a loss? What if all of it was actually constructing something rare, something elegant, something magnetic? Authority. The kind of authority that does not shout. The kind that does not need approval. The kind that simply enters a room and changes the atmosphere without saying a word. Stay with me for a moment, because what you are about to understand may completely change the way you see yourself. There is a type of influence that only appears after years of living, observing, making mistakes, learning, and reinventing yourself again and again. It cannot be bought. It cannot be copied. And it certainly cannot be rushed. Because it is built slowly, through life itself. While the world runs endlessly after what is new, after what is young, after what is trending, the mature woman possesses something far more valuable. Vision. Vision allows her to read situations before others even notice what is happening. Vision allows her to understand people, even when they barely understand themselves. And today, you are going to discover how this accumulated wisdom can transform into something extremely powerful. Strategic influence. Not loud influence. Not aggressive influence. But silent, elegant, deeply persuasive influence. And there is one important truth that very few people talk about. Influence does not mean speaking louder. It does not mean dominating a conversation. And it certainly does not mean manipulating others. Real influence begins somewhere much more subtle. It begins with understanding people. When a woman truly understands human emotions, motivations, insecurities, desires, she begins to see what others cannot see. Take a slow breath. Because when a mature woman realizes this, something shifts inside her. The way she speaks changes. The way she listens changes. The way she walks into a room changes. And most importantly, the way people look at her changes. Throughout history, there has always been a reason why experienced women were often consulted in moments of uncertainty. They developed something that young people simply haven't had time to build yet. Emotional perception. With the passing years, a woman learns to notice subtle signals. Small changes in tone. Unspoken tensions in a room. Hidden intentions behind polite words. The meaning behind silence. And this ability transforms presence into influence. Because people feel when someone truly understands them. And understanding creates trust. Trust is the most powerful currency of influence. Think about this for a moment. How many people have you met who talk constantly, who try very hard to convince everyone, who attempt to prove their importance again and again? Yet somehow, they never truly command respect. Now think of someone else. Someone who speaks less. But when they do speak, everyone listens. That difference is not about volume. It is about presence. And presence grows stronger with maturity. One of the foundations of this presence is something incredibly simple. But it is incredibly powerful. Self-knowledge. A woman who has lived long enough begins to understand herself in a deeper way. She knows what she values. She knows what she accepts. and she knows exactly what she will no longer tolerate. This clarity creates something almost invisible around her. Respect. Because people who know who they are rarely feel the need to prove anything. And this brings us to one of the most underestimated secrets of influence. Conscious silence. In many conversations, the most powerful person in the room is not the one speaking first. It is the one observing first. The mature woman understands the power of waiting. She watches the dynamics. She notices who is trying to impress others, who is seeking approval, who is competing for attention, and who actually has something meaningful to say. Only after observing does she choose her words. This behavior creates something extremely rare today. Natural authority. Not authority that demands attention, but authority that people recognize instinctively. Because real influence is never forced. It is earned. Take another slow breath. Because the next realization may be one of the most liberating discoveries of maturity. With time, you begin to understand that you no longer need to compete with anyone. For many years, society encouraged women to compete constantly. Compete for recognition. Compete for beauty. Compete for validation. Compete for space. But the strategic woman eventually understands something very different. She does not fight for space. She creates her own space. And she does this through emotional clarity. When you have lived enough, you start recognizing patterns in human behavior. You see power games before they even unfold. You recognize subtle manipulation. You notice hidden insecurity behind arrogance. And because you see these patterns, you do not feel the need to participate in them. Ironically, the ability to step outside the game often gives you the most power within it. Picture a room full of people trying to prove something. Everyone is talking loudly. Everyone is competing for attention. Everyone is trying to appear important. Now imagine one woman sitting calmly. She observes quietly. She speaks only when necessary. Every movement is deliberate. Every word carries weight. Who do you think draws more attention in that room? That is the quiet elegance of maturity. Another powerful element of mature feminine influence is intelligent empathy. Not the type of empathy that absorbs everyone's problems, but the kind that understands what truly motivates people. When you understand what someone desires, what they fear, what they value, communication becomes incredibly precise. You know how to speak in a way that resonates. And when communication aligns with emotional understanding, influence naturally emerges. This is one of the reasons many mature women become natural advisors in their circles. Friends ask for their perspective. Family members seek their guidance. Colleagues value their insight. Because experience creates perspective. And perspective creates wisdom. Another key element of strategic influence is posture. Not only physical posture, although that matters too, but emotional posture toward life. A woman who has learned from her past does not carry shame for her mistakes. She carries knowledge. Every difficult phase, every disappointment, every moment that once felt impossible, added another layer of strength within her. Resilience. And resilient people radiate a different kind of energy. They transmit stability. In a world full of uncertainty, stability is deeply attractive. This is why experienced leaders are often valued in complex situations. Experience allows decisions to be made with calm, with context, and with patience. Now reflect on your own life for a moment. How many situations once felt unbearable, and yet today they are simply chapters of your story? Each one strengthened your emotional intelligence. And emotional intelligence is one of the greatest sources of influence a person can develop. Emotionally intelligent people know when to speak, when to listen, and when silence is the most powerful response. Another reason mature women often become natural strategists is their long-term vision. When we are younger, decisions are often driven by the present moment. Immediate emotions, immediate reactions, immediate desires. But over time, something changes. You begin to see further ahead. You realize that not everything must be resolved immediately. Sometimes the most intelligent move is patience. Observe. Wait. Act at the right moment. Strategic patience creates advantages. And advantage creates leadership. There is also something else that many people underestimate: the power of mature feminine presence. There is something profoundly sophisticated about a woman who accepts her own journey, who does not fight against time, but walk gracefully with it. This quiet confidence creates magnetism. People instinctively notice when someone feels comfortable in their own skin. That comfort radiates authenticity. Authenticity creates connection. And connection creates influence. Now you might be wondering, how can all this wisdom become something practical in daily life? The answer begins with 3 powerful attitudes. First, honor your story. Many women spend years minimizing their own experiences. But every chapter of your life carries lessons that others have not yet learned. When you share those lessons with calm confidence, you naturally become a reference point for others. Second, refine your communication. Influence does not come from speaking constantly. It comes from speaking intentionally. Choose words that carry clarity, calmness, and conviction. Avoid unnecessary arguments. The strategic woman understands that energy is precious. She invests it only where it truly matters. Third, cultivate presence. Presence means being fully attentive to the moment. When someone speaks to you, truly listen. When you enter a room, observe before acting. When you choose to express your opinion, do it calmly. This behavior communicates something extremely rare today: awareness. And people who move through life with awareness naturally become influential, because they bring clarity to environments filled with noise. Take one final slow breath, because perhaps the greatest truth about mature feminine influence is this: you do not need to become someone else to be powerful. You only need to recognize the power that already exists within your journey. Every experience you have lived, every obstacle you overcame, every phase that shaped who you are today, all of it built a version of you that cannot be replicated. This is strategic maturity. The moment when a woman realizes that time did not reduce her power. Time refined it. And when that awareness awakens, something extraordinary happens. She stops trying to prove her value and simply begins to notice. Now I would love to hear from you. In the comments, write one word that represents the phase of life you are living right now. Wisdom, rebirth, strength, transformation. Your story may inspire someone else who is walking the same path. And if this message resonated with you, take a moment to subscribe to the channel. Here we explore maturity, self-worth, emotional intelligence, and the quiet art of living with elegance and awareness. And in the next video, we will uncover another fascinating secret about the silent power of women who transform experience into personal magnetism. I look forward to seeing you there.